After several failed attempts by Universal Studios to revive the franchises of classic monsters, such as The Disasters of Dracula Untold, 2014, and The Mummy, 2017, finally the company hits the spot, and to bring us an acceptable version of The Invisible Man by Lee Wannell. Wannell combined his acting career with his passion for writing and directing for 20 years, but it was not until he participated in Saw's films, both as a recurring actor and as a writer, that one of his friends, James Wan, gave him the opportunity to demonstrate his talent by successfully directing the third chapter of the Insidious saga. All this allowed him to complete his most personal upgrade project in 2018, which was well received by critics and the audience. https://www.youtube.com/watch=0COSRKM8 and T=2. Thanks to this success, Universal set its sights on it through Blumhouse to be able to begin the new stage of the classic monsters, and now, instead of creating a shared universe, following the example of Marvel, like the one outlined in The Mummy of Tom Cruise, decided to make films separately, each with its own spirit, and especially with the particular vision of each director. The first of this series is The Invisible Man, a film that can be classified as the suspense terror genre and vaguely takes the basic elements of H.G. Wells and the 1933 film. In this version we are presented with the story of Cecilia Elizabeth Moss, who runs away from the destructive relationship she had with her boyfriend Adrian Griffin, Oliver Jackson Cohen, a renowned researcher in the field of optics, but it is also manipulator and controller, so much so that it becomes a nightmare to live with it. When he finally manages to flee from his side, Cecilia learns that Adrian committed suicide, leaving him a large inheritance. However, some situations that occur make him think that he is not really dead, and that it is another trick to continue manipulating and controlling his life. Now, Cecilia must prove that Adrian is alive, and that he has devised a way to become invisible, and that he plans to harm her and her family. Just look at the poster of the tape to deduce that it is a tape based on the psychological stalking that is exercised on Cecilia. If the treatment of the issue of abuse is intense, now adding the inclusion of science fiction becomes even more aberrant. Just imagine the harassment of someone invisible, who at any time looks at us and can harm us. The treatment of this topic is very well carried out by the director/writer Lee Wannell at this time. Me too. The combination with the basic elements of H.G. Wells make the tape an excellent adaptation, the best that has been done since 1933. With the help of Stephen Dussio's photography, the different architectural spaces in which history occurs can be presented creatively and in the same way transmit the stages of paranoia, claustrophobia and despair that the protagonist goes through. If we add to this the effective Benjamin Wallfisch score, Blade Runner, It, Dunkirk, everything comes together to bring us a terrifying experience. It should be noted the excellent performance of the acting group, highlighting the work of Elizabeth Moss, who credibly transmits the different states through which her character passes: frustration, paranoia, madness and her final liberation. Altogether it is a very solid film, an excellent horror piece that paints to be one of the best films of the year. But, in spite of everything, maybe some people can find the script repetitive and hopeless, since heroine, as is common in these tapes, suffers too much all the time to the extent that their victim role can be frustrating and they find it predictable. In addition, they will find some similarities with the tape The Hollow Man, especially in the final part, and although that is not all bad, it can annoy fans of these stories. In summary, The Invisible Man is an excellent horror/psychological and science fiction horror thriller that, while taking some elements of the original story, shines with its own light by integrating a complex issue such as abuse. The excellent interpretation of Elizabeth Moss and the effective direction of Lee Wannell manages to bring us one of the best films in the year. This is a great step for the return of the classic monsters of yesteryear. A very successful horror tape that scares us by making the visible invisible and vice versa.